you ever wondered what it's like for women working in politics? You might have seen the gender-specific insults meted out to Australia's first female Prime Minister, Julia Gillard. Insults calling her a witch, a bitch, calling her barren and an old cow. It's clearly not easy being a woman with political power. Well, that was not so long ago. Do you think Gillard's famous misogyny speech has made a difference since then? Surely politics can't be completely toxic for all the women working in Canberra. I'll be asking some of the female federal politicians representing Western Sydney exactly that. The conversation begins with Julie Owens. She's been the federal member for Parramatta since 2004 and is the Shadow Assistant Minister for Citizenship and Multiculturalism and for small business, as well as chairing a few standing committees. Julie's office is just opposite our Parramatta City campus, and I joined her there.
I got an email once from someone who said that I had walked down to give someone in the Parliament and then turned around and walked back up the stairs so they could see my bum on the camera and how outrageously repulsive it was. It was giant and I was wearing chocolate-coloured pants and it went on for about a page of this abuse of what my bottom was like and how appallingly repulsive it was.
My personal story, I am incredibly lucky I've been in the party for 25 years and have been mentored by an incredibly supportive male cohort who have made sure that in my part of the party for that 25 years there was representation of women, that people whatever their gender or whatever their ethnic, it made no difference. It was their contribution. I understand that not everybody has my story, so I understand that for lots of women that's not the case, but I do know that I have been incredibly blessed by the people who've supported me.
When I first started in politics, to be honest, it was often quite lonely. There weren't a lot of women. We were still a bit of a novelty in politics, and attention on things that shouldn't really matter, like hair and clothes and shoes, and romantic relationships, all got a lot more attention on female politicians than on men. And I say it was lonely because at times the political structures seemed to be set up to pit women against women. There was only going to be one woman's spot in cabinet, so you had to fight it out amongst yourselves. So much has changed, and that's quite positive. One, we've seen a woman be prime minister. We've seen women be premiers of all the major states. We have, seen women become 50% of cabinet or of the parliaments in state level, and increasingly at a federal level, we're approaching that. And so it's that kind of change that is really making it a far more supportive environment, and also just takes away that sense that somehow this is a novelty, women in politics. It's a natural thing. To me, one of the best examples of this is that when the night Julia Gillard became Prime Minister, I was Premier. I went to a school in my state seat, and these young year 4 and 5 girls came running out to meet me, and they said, Miss, girls are in charge everywhere. And I thought, what a powerful thing to be 10 or 11 and to look up and see your country and your state headed up by women. And just to think that that was a natural way of things.
I was in the House. I was sitting behind Julia when she made her now infamous misogyny speech. There's a lot of talk about the way Julia was treated, during her time, but a lot of it you would have missed because it was under the breath. It was in the House, where a group of people on the front bench on the other side would be saying, "Be a good girl, Julia," and it was constant, and it was at a level that the microphones wouldn't pick it up, but it was constant. Every time Christopher Pyne got up, he would talk about the slag and the bag. He'd say, every time the Prime Minister gets to her feet, we get the slag and the bag. And nobody called him out on it other than us.
So we see that a lot has changed for women in politics. It's a much more positive space with the increase in the sheer number of female politicians. It's still not an easy ride for women, particularly when they are at the centre of political power. The issue of gender in politics remains a salient point. I'll leave the final word to Australia's so far only female Prime Minister. In her final speech, Julia Gillard maintained her long-standing resilience about the impact of gender on her time in office, saying, "It doesn't explain everything, it doesn't explain nothing, it explains some things." There's certainly a lot to think about when it comes to the politics of gender. Let's all do that in a sophisticated way. And maybe we'll elect Australia's next female Prime Minister soon. I'm Diane Colman. All the best.